Welcome to another Saturday of LCS, where TSM and Golden Guardians are kicking things off in game number 1. Now, at the top of our day, we wanted to let you all know that for the rest of the weekend, LCS teams will be competing remotely in an effort to keep everyone healthy and safe as we move forward through this pandemic. So, ahead of that game 2, or game 1, oh my goodness, jumping ahead of myself already.
Whoa, someone's ready to get started.
We're moving! Here on the LCS. Okay, game 1 kicking off shortly. Emily, I know you wanted to get into some Golden Guardians drafts.
Yeah, so I want to talk about how they've been pivoting around Diana, which is obviously one of the strongest junglers right now. She has great setup for team fights. In particular, this composition is honestly amazing. I really loved this with, the strong AD threat from Sivir. Everyone's able to go in. It's an incredibly fast composition. You have the protection from the bruiser Tom Kench mid. But then typically the way they pivot around Diana is with these AD bruisers. It started in week 6, actually, when they flexed the Kalista into the mid lane as well, which allows them to do stuff like the Ziggs bot if you have that AD threat. I just really like how they use the AP threat from Diana to flex around it. I do think maybe it should be banned just because she's also pretty strong generally. But I wanted to call out how they are able to be flexible around the Diana pick because it's really interesting.
Well, so that was going to be my very first question to you two coming off of that is what happens if the Diana is banned? Where is the source of recourse for Golden Guardians to find continued success with creative drafts like this?
Yeah, so basically Golden Guardians has been reliant on the Diana and the Volibear because they generally want engage out of the jungle. So I actually expect that in this matchup, with TSM being, I think, blue side, they can actually just take away the Diana and play it themselves because Spica, even though they don't play it so that they can play an AD mid, they do like the pick potential that it gives Spica, and he's a huge enabler for the team.
The big thing for me is I think Diana, like that style fits the team really well. Like I agree with your point, like, okay, having some engage is nice, but I actually think compositionally, Diana and Volibear are different junglers by a lot. Diana's a selfish jungler. Diana's the champion you pick when you're gonna play for yourself, you're gonna tell your top laner, like, okay, if you need me to cross play with you, I will, but like, I want to get these camps first. I'm gonna finish my path, and then you're gonna help me get scuttle. Like that's the kind of jungler Diana is, where it's like she's gonna have the most gold on her team, like she's gonna go in and she's gonna be a big carry force. Volibear is there to be like, oh, of course I'll skip Krugs for you. Yes, we're connected. Of course I'll be there for you. Of course, yes. Oh no, that's okay. I'll come down to bottom lane and push your wave, and they can have the scuttle. It's okay. That's what Volibear is, right? Like he's there for early CC, and his late game is trash. Right, you're not building more damage items. He's not as tanky as like a Dr. Mundo or something, right? And so when you contrast him, like those styles, like he's gonna look better on a Diana type champion. Anything where like you're happy taking camps at level 13 and still full clearing.
Yeah, and I just remembered I misspoke. TSM's on red side, so just ban it.
That's fine.
There we go. He's banned it out.
Just
Is
ban
the
it.
call, but we'll see if that actually happens as we get our way into champion select here for game number 1. It's also just a curiosity or a peculiarity to me then that as we talk about the type of jungler that Diana is, that Golden Guardians would have such confidence in a young jungler like Iconic. He definitely surprised and impressed many of us even in spring when they were struggling because of him coming straight out of collegiate, skipping amateur and into the pro scene. But my goodness, the picture of a jungler that you just painted to me when it comes to the champion pick is not necessarily the kind of thing I would say, hey, rookie jungler, here you go.
I will say though, like players have play styles. Like I know we're in draft, we can talk about that in a little bit, but like players have play styles, and you can try to coach them into a new style, but like SOFM is SOFM. Iconic's gonna be a hard farmer. Like the man barely has F keys on his keyboard. He's watching himself kill the camps, and like this means he is a flawed player.
Somebody get the pro view. Get the pro view and figure that out. Let us know. Let us know if really is hitting the immediately.
But that's what he's good at, right? Like, that's how he got to where he is. He's good at that style, and so it's like, okay, you're like just LCS level at a hard farm style. We're gonna teach you to play hard ganking. Good luck being ready for it, right?
Okay,
so,
well, Diana's out, Volibear's in. Look at that.
See?
One thing I do also want to point out is that's kind of surprising to me is that they GG banned the Aphelios, but not the Thresh. I think the Thresh is actually
the more important
prescient ban against Sword Art specifically, but also just in terms of how Thresh can change that entire 2v2 lane. He just gives Aphelios so much protection. I think Aphelios has other support options, but it's the Thresh that would be higher priority for me.
I agree, and if you deny the Thresh, then that also gives you the option of either taking or in some other way creating pressure to take Leona early on the side of TSM, because I think, and to the point about this being an engaged support meta, TSM is really going to look for Sword Art to prioritize having something that he can start fights on. So I agree. I think a Leona ban would have been, or sorry, a Thresh ban and the Leona takeaway would have been more appropriate.
Well, that said, with the double 80 carry bans sense, TSM does feel the need to reach for their marksman pretty early on with the Varus pick.
Yeah, they do, but I actually want to talk about the Gwen pick.
Yeah, please.
because
Yeah, go for it.
This is a pick that TSM is typically shied away from, and we've seen be a higher priority for other teams, largely because I think when we think about TSM and their playstyle, they're more looking for who need to be on champions that are contributing to a team fight, and less champions that need attention top lane. So I think that this is TSM saying is that, hey, we feel comfortable sort of leaving our comfort zone a little bit in this draft and playing something that we think is going to be a power pick. I personally really like this, and I also like the response of Golden Guardians to just pair Thresh with another hyper carry, right? Because he enables so much safety for a Jinx.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of the Thresh, I actually really like that lane. And it
Right,
also
for much
gives
the
them, like,
same
a ton of
reason that
late-game
Aphelios
turns.
is
Yeah.
effective with it, right? Jinx gets covered in some of her, lack
Right.
of mobility by virtue of having a Thresh alongside her.
You do have a much weaker landing phase. Like Aphelios can fight back against Varus, right? Like you've got the same range with Green Gun, like you've got the sustain out of Red. Jinx is gonna be a little bit on the back foot. Like she's reasonably tanky, but like the sustain is not there. So like if Speak is landing a lot of stuff and it's sort of like Everlane's a single hook in lane, like, ooh, it's gonna be tough for you. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, your late game is really, really incredible. Like just having a just default 725 range, like your team fighting is sick. One of the big things actually is being able to stay out of range of Gwen. Like Gwen's late game team fighting is absurd, and like she's just like the best late game top laner.
Yeah.
I think right now in Pro League of Legends, and there's a good chance Dixie can actually be out of that range and like not get pinned down and still team fight well. And right, if the front lines are there, can actually just do more than lost in the team fights, even with a Gwen trying to chase her down.
Second round of bans coming out now. We got the LeBlanc on one side, the Olaf on the other. Going back to your point about draft, Emily, obviously they don't have the AP threat in the jungle for Golden Guardians, so you assume it will be coming from the mid lane again at this point. Where does Golden Guardians go to kind of round out their composition with the way that they've built it so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am really curious to see what they're gonna do with the mid lane pick. I'm also curious to see if TSM are going to flex that Gwen into the jungle, possibly. Removing the Renekton is really good in my opinion, just because he has such an early lane prowess. I'm also wondering, because another ban strategy we've seen against TSM is to take away those scaling mid lane picks that PoE really, really loves to play. And hey, they're all available, right? Like
Right,
the
Azir
Victor
is
is available,
there.
the Azir is available.
Yeah.
So I'm especially curious to see what TSM actually end up taking in the mid lane, because right now I like, you have Varus for the poke damage, you have Gwen who's just insanely strong in late game team fights. And we're getting Nocturne.
Please be Jungle Nocturne. Please, TSM. You didn't pick it yesterday. You let it go through. I think Jungle Nocturne, by the way, is still amazing.
Yeah.
I will say, I think Nocturne is very, very good against low mobility champions. Obviously, Thresh can Lantern a Jinx away, but you can still go Stride Breaker. You jump on her with a Stride Breaker, she's not getting away from you. Like, if there's no Lantern, that girl is dead. If you're holding a ward in time, you block Lantern, like that girl is dead if you have any follow-up, and Gwen will be there. So I am a fan of Gwen top Nocturne jungle, and you just kill backline.
Yeah. Having seen, now that we see the Gwen and the Nocturne and the Complex, it looks like TSM is actually playing a more aggressive draft than we
I will
typically
be
expect.
very
So
surprised.
what I want to see Golden Guardians just go hard on the defense, actually. If you're going to be playing around a Jinx, like, you don't want to be playing
Okay.
another
All right.
a lot of
Okay, I was gonna be like, sorry, Kaisen, I was just looking and I was like, the
What does Trundle do?
Yeah, I was like,
this is not a
I mean,
Trundle game.
I was like, okay, in a world where you're all AD, I guess you have Tank Shred with the Trundle ultimate. You're gonna get
Yeah.
through one person. Like trying to, no,
It's a troll hover.
It went very much. Okay.
Yeah.
My days are limited.
in general, especially if they do end up picking the Rise, I like TSM's ability to collapse and then also be able to scrap with the Gwen.
On the other side, I actually really
It
like.
also scales very well.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying again?
Oh no, I was saying the Rise scales really well.
It does. I think this is a TSM draft that is not their strong suit, but I think this is a game where they're looking to experiment pretty clearly. I think the moment we saw the Gwen, we should expect, okay,
Yeah,
TSM is
flex
just
into
trying to,
jungle.
develop more styles in the arsenal. So I would say that the Golden Guardians draft is much more straightforward to play through. They have a huge front line in Set, Volibear, and even Silas to an extent is sort of like he can be built, somewhat tanky. And I think it's just a straight front-to-back team fight, actually, which is ironically what you normally associate with TSM.
Yep.
Whereas with TSM, you're more looking for 1-3-1. You're more looking for Gwen to be supporting the Nocturne and the Rise as they make side lane plays.
All right, well, we're past the 20-second
Freak.
mark on the
Yeah,
countdown.
we're not.
So we
we're
are
not getting
sure
the
to-
double
So because
nocturne.
of this, I now favor Golden Guardians because I think okay, because if it was the other way around, I think Huni wins side lane late game and you've eventually got other priority. I think Golden Guardians have a winning top lane. I think the mid should be fine. It's going to be more TSM pressure early game, which will make it a little bit harder for Volibear to get ganks off. But I like the team fed a lot more because Gwen won't be fed enough to kill the Jinx.
A quick reminder to those of you at home, as Champion Select is over, this is the time in the remote world where we have to build a 3-minute delay for competitive integrity. And so you will be with us during that 3 minutes, and then when the game is ready to go, we'll toss you out to the arena for the casters to make the call. But I want to continue this conversation around expectation within the game. You know, the fact that with a Gwen in the side lane, you might expect Huni to get the better of the 1v1 in the late game. Not the case. He is one of those players that has really held fast to the Nocturne in the top lane, even following a few of those hits. And so I'm not sure how much of that I want to pin to, you know, because he's generally such a creative player. He's so willing to move on to new things. Why is it that he's holding fast to the Nocturne? Why is it that TSM finds so much value in this pick?
Well, I think it's a pick that allows them to have pressure, you know, in the early game where otherwise as a team they generally don't, right? When you think about TSM's bot lane, it's not characterized by being super lane dominant. They have their moments, but it's more about unlocking Sword Art to roam. When you think about their mid lane, it's generally playing more controlled, looking to scale to mid and late game. So top lane is actually usually where the pressure comes from. And, you know, they've done fine on the Nocturne. They beat Immortals with this pick as well. So I think it's okay for them to continue to pick the Nocturne. It's something that they're comfortable with while they're experimenting with these other picks. I'm actually looking on the Golden Guardian side, though. Like, this is a team that typically has had Licorice on picks that can split push and more create individual pressure. And this is a more team-oriented pick. So I think both teams are slightly out of their comfort zone, but I think to Freak's point, the Golden Guardians draft is way more straightforward to play, but I think TSM is the better team.
Well, and this is like an iteration of TSM's draft against FlyQuest, which is a game that, you know, you can argue they had that kind of shaky reset that FlyQuest then capitalized on in the top lane and ended up winning the game after that team fight, and it turned around. But TSM had really strong control of that game with the Nocturne into the Aurelia matchup. Not really sure it was supposed to go that way, but and then PoE in the jungle also with the Rise, and then they had Diana. So I mean, I think this is, I guess, TSM kind of shifting or like iterating on something that they've tried out before, and then even though it did lose that game, it came down to like that kind of single play. It wasn't necessarily the draft itself.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's clear that they're iterating, and I personally love it, right? Like, we're in week 8. It would be very easy to say, hey, let's just double down on what we're strong on. But I think TSM, they're aiming high for themselves, right? And they recognize that in a best of 5, you want to have at least the threat of multiple looks. You want to be able to show that, hey, we will take the Gwen occasionally when it's available. And I think that was a gap in their style. So even if today doesn't show that, hey, all of a sudden they're really good at playing 1-3-1, it will put the fear of these power picks that are in the meta in the minds of other teams.
Yeah, I mean, Huni wants to play early aggressive champions, right? And if like, look, if you look at Gwen, like she's like really good at level 1, but like she's gonna power trough like around level 5. Like she's gonna kind of taper off through like a lot of the sort of like the early mid game and the laning phase. Then she catches back up, and then it's amazing. And right now, Huni just wants to play early aggressive stuff. So like when we watch his Nocturne, like he's the only player to have won with Nocturne top on this patch. He's the only one. Like 5 players have played it. He's the only one who's actually won on it.
Right.
I don't think it's so very good, but like he's getting consistent early pressure with it. Like he's gotten like level 2 solo kills. So like that part is working. I think it's not a well-rounded top lane anymore, and again, not a good one. But if it's the exact style Huni wants to play, he wants to be lane dominant. He wants to get that done. It's why we saw the set, because we thought it was a Gwen counter pick, and you know, here we are.
Right, yeah, it's hard to argue with success.
Yeah.
Even if we might not
He's
have
1 and
seen
2.
it.
can
To be clear, he's 1 and 2.
We can argue
He's not
argue.
exactly successful.
We can argue with mixed success.
Yeah, mixed success. You can't argue with mixed success. Let's talk real briefly about lane priority, because you already mentioned Jinx, perhaps a weaker laner than you would expect the Aphelios to be, but you at least have you know, pseudo range support against the Nautilus. You know, where do we expect both teams to have pressure on the map?
So I expect bot lane pressure on the TSM side. I expect top lane pressure on TSM side. I don't know what Sylas versus Ryze looks like, so my guess is TSM has more early prio. However, the jungler from Golden Guardians has more early pressure.
All right, well, those are our thoughts ahead of game number 1. Golden Guardians TSM out to pastry time in Azale for the call.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much, Dash and friends. This is going to be a fun one. We're getting close to playoffs, Azale. Not quite there yet. Week 8, day number 2, as the Golden Guardians look to try and squeak in to the final playoff spot. Nice dodge from Blaze Olive, gets out from under the hook of Sword Art, as TSM did try a late-ish invade. Not that late.
Yep. Once again,
Getting
showing why you do not skill before you see someone. Saving that, skills up to E, easy dodge away. Nicely done there by a Blaze Olive. I'm going to be interested to see how this does play out because, like Free said, you know, there are some pushing lanes on the TSM side, but when you have pushing lanes and you have a losing jungle, there is some danger there because to win these matchups, you generally want to push in, you want to harass, you want to constantly be shoving, and that does expose you to Volibear. It's going to be somewhat up to the laners, somewhat up to Spica to actually be tracking where Iconic is because Volibear is a very dangerous early game jungler, especially with PTA. Those ganks can be pretty fearsome.
And of course, for all our Spanish-speaking friends, the team over at FlyQuest is putting on an all-Spanish broadcast over at twitch.com/FlyQuest. So go ahead and check that out. I'll have both on. And I don't know, if you speak both languages, let us know how we're casting different. That'd be kind of cool. I want to know what they're saying that I'm not saying.
I feel like if you were listening to both at the same time, you couldn't really listen to either.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that'd be very challenging.
just put on the audio-only one as well. You know, all three simultaneously.
Ooh. I mean, you say it like it's crazy, but I don't know.
You're like, oh,
there might be something
something
there. You know what? It's just an embarrassment of our ways to listen/watch the League of Legends. Which is a great thing here. As Huni is at it again. The old Nocturne.
Yeah.
Still here in the 1v1 up against Licorice's set.
It is interesting. It just seems to be more of a Huni thing than a meta thing.
A lot of
these
TSM
days.
things.
Yeah. Lost. Nice little sidestep there on the hook. And Nocturne is going to be able to push. The Spell Shield is very effective against the Haymaker from set. You can always kind of save that because that is the biggest point of return damage there coming out. It's pretty easy to Spell Shield. Probably doesn't even have it skilled right now, so they're not really making it live.
I hope he can Spell Shield it when he has it. Because, oh boy.
If you cannot react to that, you've got bigger problems than your champion pick.
Nice hook there. Oh, Sword Art actually going to have to flash Chime. Really nice amount of pressure there with the Thresh. So Sword Art down a Summoner. Of note, it is Ignite and Cleanse as the other two there for Lost and Sword Art. So a bit more defensive on the TSM side as top side's going to get aggressive. Licorice in trouble.
Looks like they want to try to set up for a dive here. They have the stacked wave. Spica's coming as well, so this could be a three-man dive.
Done already burnt. Licorice going to have trouble getting out of here.
Available.
Does have the flash. Gonna have to chill TP in. There's the W. Huni does Spell Shield it, but the damage from the tower's a little too much. Spica already is gonna get picked off with the Blaze Olive. Gets first blood, and now Power of Evil perhaps on the menu does flash away.
That one wasn't even close.
Oh, he did that! Flash done. Conqueror proc. The Blaze Olive's really getting in there. Level 4 Silas trying to make it happen. Little ambitious, but I like it. Very stylish.
Yeah, TP's up at the top side, collects double buffs there. He's probably just going to push in this wave here with Licorice, then reset. You can see that Iconic on the minimap is actually covering his roam. This is something that you always love to see at the pro level. Junglers, take note. When your solo laner moves to another solo lane to cover, when your top laner TP's bot, anything like that, push out their wave, reset that for them. Now that mid wave will be bouncing back. It also forces out Power of Evil's TP as a response to collect that wave. So Iconic, you know, making a smart play here, and this makes up for the TP that had to be used up to his top side, and TSM just seemed very hesitant to go for this. I mean, they kind of went in fairly early, then Spica arrives. They're not really starting it up, and I'm kind of wanting to track, does the Rise damage actually land? And it does, but the Haymaker shield is just so much there. Spica gets taken down. There's still a good 200, 300 health left on Licorice, so they weren't particularly close to actually making that dive happen. That felt more like a situation where you should try to get the TP and probably just immediately back off instead of committing to the dive. And it did seem like Huni was backing up pretty quickly. So maybe a little bit of split comms, maybe a little bit of overestimating their damage, but pretty rough play for them there as they're not able to deny the wave. First blood over to a Blaze Olive, and he's going to have a nice time in mid lane now as a result with the double buffs.
Yeah, even though down a wave of CS right now should be just fine as the wave pushes on, especially if you can find more timings like that. I mean, that one was with a TP, I suppose, so made quite a bit easier, but still getting aggressive. Sword Art in the back, but Power of Evil just almost dead in the 1v1. Sword Art going to have to come in to help push the wave alongside Spica.
Yeah, and this is something we actually were talking about right before the cast started, is how it can get rough for Rise if you do fall behind early. Iconic, though.
3v3 Sword Art here, but Iconic going in, just taking out Power of Evil. Such a good play out of the Golden Guardians jungle. The Flay's going to connect onto Sword Art, and Iconic grabs a well-deserved double kill.
Really nicely done. The Rise was going to be in trouble against the Blaze Olive. He was behind here. He didn't have a strong early buy. As a result, TSM moved members mid to try to help him reset the wave, to try to cover him here. But Golden Guardians have stronger members, so they just show up too. They get the kills. Iconic, strong early game jungle here. Gwen not going to have much threat in these early levels, and Iconic, as a result, gets 2 kills. They get the Dragon. Ablaze Olive is feeling great, and still Power of Evil, without much of a buy here, is going to be in danger because there's still no flash available here for the next couple minutes on this rise.
And now a Dragon goes over to Golden Guardians. It is just all good right now. Every single lane is feeling it. Stixxay is pushing in. He's got even farm and feels pretty good on the Jinx. So watch this one again. This is just such a good counter gank by Golden Guardians.
Yeah, absolutely. The initial trade was great there. Power of Evil gets put low. Spica's here to cover. Sword Art is here. But the match comes in from Golden Guardians. You can see on the minimap, it's a wraparound from top side. It's Chime collapsing from the bot side. Despite this nice hook from Sword Art onto a Blaze Olive, it doesn't matter because Chime is there to follow up, and the Volibear has more than enough damage. The CC chain is there. Volibear stun into the hook coming through from Chime. Double kill early on for Iconic, and that's going to put Gwen, who is already a weak early game jungler, in an even rougher spot, because when you're actually comparing the buys, oh, they're looking for another repeat.
A flash hook.
He's back, yeah.
Produces, expects the dodge down. Instead, Power Evil just walks comfortably back towards the tower. But again, this is the pressure you want to see from Chime. This is the early game you want out of, you know, a first pick Volibear and a support like Thresh.
Absolutely, you know, and I love the rinse and repeat, right? It is a basic thing, but it's something that you have to work into your game. You have to make time for. Make sure you're not losing too much on the other side of the map. Jinx is going to maybe give up a couple CS, but the wave wasn't in too bad of a spot. Chime is back here to actually cover, so it's mostly getting picked up.
Ulti out of Lost, actually. That's what snags Chime, but not that much follow-up damage. Hook's not going to connect, but Speaker is the big threat alongside PoE. Realm Warp's looking good. 2v4 right now for Golden Guardians. As Chime going to try and make it happen. Gets the play Aftershock proc, but not enough to save him from Lost. As Stixxay blasting away at Sword Art, trying to get a kill. Looking for the counter. W does not connect onto the Nautilus, and Lost will collect the double kill.
Ah, that's a huge punish there from TSM. So critical that they get that. Even with the double kill, they're down a little bit on gold, but that was such a big move to the bot side. This is going to be 2 waves, fully denied. Lost gets both the kills, so puts them in a big advantage now over the Jinx. And once that Realm Warp comes in behind, once they are already between you and your path of retreat, there's not really any way out in that 2v4. There was no teleports actually available on the Golden Guardian side, so good summoner tracking there from TSM. Volibear's not there, and it's just a really nice move here from Power of Evil and Speak It down to that bot side.
Yeah, definitely makes up for the level 3 dive in top lane, right? Much better execution. They're in bottom side to TSM, kind of right the ship, get the gold back to about 600 between them. Golden Guardians still ahead, both that gold and the dragon they picked up, but there was bottom lane was the only one that wasn't, you know, starting to get an advantage for Golden Guardians. I was expecting Iconic and Blazov to pay it forward and go down there, but TSM get the first jump and do manage to give Lost actually a very early Mana Mune as well.
Yeah, and that's going to feel really nice, and putting this Varus actually ahead of the Jinx is going to make things a lot more difficult for Stixxay to keep that farm up. You know, generally, Jinx is more the late game insurance here, wants to be kind of farming, wants to be comfortable picking up as much of that as possible, getting as much gold in her pockets as possible. And you have these kind of bruiser squad up on the top side that's supposed to be the ones scrapping there, supposed to be the ones creating space. But if Stixxay falls too far behind Lost in this bot side, it can be difficult for him to really keep pace.
All right, well, a little late there for Speak as well, but does at least get the info. Probably wasn't going to be able to contest anyway. So Rift Herald does go over to Golden Guardians as a result, but the gold is even as the dust settles. TP in the insta-flash from Chime, puts up the box. Lost is the target, trying to pick up the Varus. The ulti will connect, as now the stolen ulti out of a Blaze Olive is going to knock up Sword Art, and that should be a kill. Stixxay going to be the one to grab the double this time.
Man, this game is hype. Both teams are being so proactive, back and forth. This time, a Blaze Olive knows he has his TP first because he made the earlier TP to the top side. They forced out the TP from Power of Evil back to mid lane. Remember, that was Iconic shoving out mid lane, forcing out Power of Evil's TP. So they have this slight TP advantage there. They pull the trigger on this play here. And this is just really nicely done. Back up onto the top side. Gonna see what happened here. Flash, dunk, Huni back. He pops the ulti, but just no way out. So another kill up on the top side, and things looking really nice for Golden Guardians off the back of a couple of really aggressive plays. And both mid laners have been very proactive at getting out of their lanes.
This is great. I love seeing both these teams just staying proactive, playing for the sidelines. I mean, you pick Ryze and Sylas to be active in the mid game, right? You definitely don't pick Sylas, especially to sit around and farm mid lane and hope that the late game comes and things are feeling all good. So Huni going to start to get aggressive again, but does have his flash up, doesn't have his ult, but probably not going to be relevant for any sort of defense, as Licorice maybe going to ask for a revisit here in top lane.
Yeah, and right now we'll see if Licorice is going to actually turn around to shove this, but it did look like it was coming towards him. He's already up a bit on farm, so it is going to be difficult for Huni to really scrap with that set, especially if he does get out to an early advantage. Tabby's going to be super effective for him. And you can also see Iconic already has the Divine Sunderer completed, first Mythic in the game. He is going to be such a threat. Could really outduel anyone on TSM right now, so they're going to have to play very carefully around where this Volibear could be.
And aware that Speaker's cleared the Scuttle Crab here in the bottom river, so now they're actually going to roam back around to the bottom side of the map. Stixxay, though, is going to play respectfully back, needs to watch the rise. We know Power of Evil is right left of his blue buff, but Iconic is already down here trying to track some of that, because I do believe Golden Guardians want to force a fight at this dragon. As Speaker gets himself clipped, trying with the flare, but not enough to follow through, as there's only one Golden Guardians member that can go over that wall right now, and that's Chime.
Yeah, that definitely would have been an int if they went over. I mean, maybe you Lantern Iconic in, but even so, the TSM bot lane could have had first move. Small thing, but funnily enough, I think it actually would have been better for Iconic just throw his E onto the dragon there instead of trying to aim for Spica. Just aggro the dragon, get that to do a little bit of damage to Spica on the exit, but Golden Guardians trying to set up for this. Notice that Stixxay is still pretty far away, so I don't think they actually want to hard commit to this. TP advantage ever so slightly in favor of Huni. Licorice is about to come up, and it will, as a result, just be TSM's dragon there. You know, Stixxay was kind of cut off. Licorice was a couple seconds late on having that teleport available, so both teams grabbing a dragon, and Mountain Dragon going to be the name of the game here, which should be a very powerful one in this matchup.
It's a nice delayed trade, though, for Golden Guardians. Going to get a plate, and then the Rooftop's going to grab probably 2 more as the charge does come through. So 1.5 left on that here, 1.5 minutes to clear those out, but still some good gold. I mean, that was kind of your expected trade anyway, but Golden Guardians at least give themselves the option of contesting the dragon, but don't overextend and still manage to grab the gold they were trying to get as well.
Yeah, and I think in most cases, you just want them to fully give it up if you're not going to go for it. I think it's okay to kind of poke and prod if you have Thresh, because you can set things up where Volibear maybe ults in, tries to smite it if the situation is there, you get lanterned out. So like that's more acceptable if you have that read that you can maybe make a play happen there. Oh, Nocturne ulti coming. Power Reveal's here.
3v3 now as the Blaze Olive's in there. Seth, oh my goodness, the dunk is big. Looking for the pullback, finds 2 Iconic. Gets right in there, dunks on him as Realm Warp is going to get popped, but it will not save Power of Evil, and the dive may not be done yet for Golden Guardians.
Oh, they're trying to wrap around behind him here. Blaze Olive can stop with the Gwen ulti. He can actually hit them here, and it's going to get stopped by Iconic just with the E, so they're trying to set this up. You can see Swordart is actually racing out of base, but will he be here in time? He's pretty far away.
Waves coming in. All right, who's going to tank it? Licorice no ulti, but still has the W. He's going to go in first, finds the face breaker, flashback there. Ulti out of Silas there as Licorice is just still taking the tower. They're going for it all. A Blaze Olive Void, but Iconic will get the last kill, and Power of Evil is maybe going to be too late, but Swordart does arrive in time to give one back. It's Power of Evil that finds the shutdown.
They get one back, but they lost a lot on that top side. The 3v3 skirmish going so heavily in the favor of Golden Guardians. This Volibear is ridiculously strong. Zed is ahead. Silas is ahead. All 3 members that were in that 3v3 were stronger than their counterparts. So Golden Guardians executing on it well. Licorice setting it up. Iconic following through here. They look for the play, but the roam was very quick from Silas, and this is where you can see, all right, let's go. They go straight in. Power of Evil actually flashed over the wall to avoid the chain stun coming through there from a Blaze Olive, but he just lands into Licorice, and it's Volibear from the top rope there, jumping in to slam that first kill home. They delay the recalls. They go right in. Licorice tanking it up for quite a few tower shots. And I mean, they're just so healthy that they can make this dive happen even in the extended play. Yes, the Blaze Olive does end up going down, but it's flash from Swordart, it's TP from Power of Evil. They got 3 kills in the extended play, and TSM only gets 1 back while spending more summoners.
Yeah, well worth it there for Golden Guardians, as they will be up 3,500 gold as the Golden Guardians supporters are out in force on Twitter today. Definitely not how I thought this game was going to start off, but Golden Guardians, credit to them. They've been improving week on week. I feel like they've been finding their footing both around objectives, which was one of my big criticisms of them earlier on in the split. They've cleaned a lot of that up.
Yeah.
And their early game has kind of only gotten smoother and faster.
I mean, honestly, they've really impressed me. You know, there was that initial kind of surge when Licorice joined the team, and it's like, okay, well, when's the other shoe going to drop? Are they going to turn back into a pumpkin? It's just 1 week. All right, well, it's just 2 weeks. All right, now we're in the 3rd week, and it's like, well, they're actually still just good. So they're playing very, very well over the last couple of weeks. Ever since Licorice has joined them, it's been kind of 2-1 week, 2-1 week, and they're looking for another one here. We'll see if they can get this win over TSM. Out to a very strong early lead. TSM does have strong scaling, though. The ability to side lane, especially late game, with this Rise is going to be critical when you're pairing that up with someone like a Nocturne who can shadow you. If someone from Golden Guardians shows up, that 1v1 becomes a 2v1, and maybe you can make something happen there. So it's going to be up to Golden Guardians to really try to snowball this game because they were in a good position yesterday and weren't able to really close out what was a game that they were playing very well in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely a rough one there up against CLG SC, but credit to CLG for picking up the win. We'll see if TSM can hold on in a similar way. They are going to, as always, be trusting in their scaling. Golden Guardians do have some insurance in the form of Stixay, but it's definitely not endless when you're playing this kind of Rise especially. Of note, Golden Guardians did get the mid-outer as well. That actually happened in the replay we had near the top side. They're actually up in that first tower gold as well. That's kind of beefing up their gold leaders. Everfrost doesn't quite connect there. Now a 3v4 as the Blazov's going to get blown up, and TSM, this time they're the ones with the counterplay as that ulti is not going to save Iconic.
Oh, it's the whole squad there. A Blaze Olive knew he had 2 members behind him. Firebeam was like, oh, you got 2? That's cute. I brought the whole team, baby. TSM piles in. They get the kills there. They're going to take the Dragon off the back of this. And that gold lead gets smaller. They take the neutral objective lead. That is smart stuff here. TSM with the correct read. They know that they want to try to punish this Rise. His flash is down. He's in the side lane. Easy target. Well, not if you have 3 members behind you.
Right, and the problem is that nothing else was happening on the map for Golden Guardians for them to try and punish them overloading the bottom side of the map, right? Huni's just in top side and lane's not pushing. Stixay hasn't gotten mid-push any further up, so Golden Guardians can maybe set the map up a little bit more neatly next time, but I do like the spirit of the play, and honestly, just credit to TSM for finding maybe the obvious play, but definitely the right counterplay to make for them.
I mean, it's just a really good read, right? And in some of these previous plays, they've maybe been a touch late to actually arrive to that play to try to turn things around. On this one, they were there right on time. Blazolve had his team members behind him, but you go in, they're not right there with you, so he was dead before anything could really happen. After that play, he picks up the stopwatch, so maybe had he had that prior, he could have delayed, bought enough time to maybe make something from that. But TSM into a good spot here. We can see Golden Guardians, though, 4 strong on this bot side. They want to take down this outer tower. TSM anticipating the play on the top side. I mean, just look at how they're playing, right? It's where is Rise? All right, stand behind him.
Yep.
These guys are basically just going to play in whatever lane Power of Evil is in. They want to enable him to get farm. They want to make sure he's staying safe. He's getting to a really strong part of the game, and you have to do that for Rise. And so as soon as Golden Guardians show bot, they will get out of there. They will look to defend this tier 2 bot. Try to stop this second charge of the Herald.
Not going to stop the charge, but I don't think the follow-up siege will be there. Big amount of damage. Stix actually trying. Huni will spell shield an incoming Thresh Hook, but Herald will die, and Golden Guardians maybe going to try for one more wave. They might have enough here to push through, and indeed they will. Chain of Corruption won't stop them. Lights are out there. Huni charging through the mid lane. Who is it he's trying to pick off? It is indeed Licorice, but that is not a particularly easy target to take out.
No, he's way too tanky. Not going to be able to take him down. Power of Evil, though, is taking down the tier 1 tower top, but still, it is isolated goal in PoE. That is nice, but you gave up the tier 1 and the tier 2. Also expended the Nocturne ulti there, which is still a fairly long cooldown. Power of Evil trying to continue to push, but Golden Guardians will be back to base in time to defend their tier 2 tower. A nice little push there from them, and recognizing that they have got to have their members behind their split pusher, behind a Blaze Olive who's out there in that side lane, and make sure that TSM cannot just overrun them with numbers.
All right, well, pretty big shopping trips there for Golden Guardians. Stixay with the Runaan's finish. Zonya's now done for Iconic. Has become a standard on Volibear. And Aegis as well, done for Chime. So already Mythics completed everywhere, and now second item starting to be worked in as well. In fact, Zonya's also done for a Blaze Olive just now. So Golden Guardians definitely fight ready. Nothing to fight for just yet, with the Dragon coming up in 2 minutes and Baron being a little too early, but we do want to see them stay proactive here.
Absolutely, and I think they're going to have to try to fight around jungle camps. If you want to try to force something, you can't just wait for Soul. The fact that TSM got 2 of these early dragons just pushes your Soul back way too late in the game. That's not what they should be looking for. So we see them now moving in. They're trying to take over the enemy jungle. You get vision. You try to kind of set up this line of vision along this area, but TSM are looking to contest. Here comes Spica.
Golden Guardians might have enough. Licorice in the top lane. It's Power of Evil all the way bot side, but he does have teleport. So he's going to be trying to play the side lane for as long as he can and hoover up all the farm. But Golden Guardians actually just looking straight for the siege here. TSM going to have to defend 4v3. And I don't know if that's going to really happen. Lost moving in. Lights are out. That's Licorice going to be on top of the lantern, but he can't quite grab it. And off to the other side, it's Spica going to take out Licorice. It's iconic. Forced to ult away, and Power of Evil does join it. Yeah, they are going to go for it. Everyone in the pool! And now Stixxay going to be forced to flash away. TSM ripping through the rest of Golden Guardians, and Stixxay's untouched, but he can't shoot back either. It's TSM finding 4 kills.
That could be Baron Pastry. TSM come up huge. Golden Guardians thought they could go for the wraparound dive, force out the teleport, and then back off. But TSM just didn't let him. Licorice could not click on the lantern. Iconic couldn't get away. The Realm Warp comes through. All 5 TSM members stack on top of him. They take him down. They'll get the Baron. They're even waiting for a Sword Art insult to injury. TSM back in control of this game.
Alrighty, well, look, watch the flip the switch rocket replay, because my goodness, TSM turned this one around.
Yeah, no kidding. The stopwatch there was big. Then they're saying, all right, no problem. Retreat here. But Sword Art lands the hook. The immediate lantern, look at that. It took 2 points of damage. That is Licorice trying to click on that. That pink ward blocking the lantern completely. In those situations, you've actually got to zoom in your camera to try to get an alternate angle to sometimes allow you to click on it, but that's difficult to do in a high pressure situation really, really quickly. So the teleport comes through, they get the initial kill, and then just piling in on top of your opponents. You have the Realm Warp to chase them down. TSM now on the map with the Baron buff here, looking for the 3rd dragon. Golden Guardians want to contest, but TSM are strong now.
Yeah, you can say that again. 10 stacks for 2 different Magi's. I think I saw as Huni is diving in. Golden Guardian trying to cut back. A Blaze Olive with the flank. Does have the stolen Nautilus ulti. Chime finds a hook. A Blaze Olive going in there. Iconic. Looking for the counter gank. Now Zonius has popped up, but Spica is the one for target with the stolen Nautilus ulti. Now Huni going to take out Iconic. Gwen going to rip through one more as Licorice does find a kill back, but Power of Evil puts an end to all that. Making a double for Spica as that's 4 dead once again. And Chime is the only one left, but not for very long. Back to base you go to join the rest of your team as another Bud Light ace is completed for TSM.
TSM are stacking up the Magi's as well. 20 pages in the book for Spica and Power of Evil. They are huge now. They were trying to fight past this front line into the back line, take down this Varus. But when you're ignoring the Gwen, when you're ignoring the Rise, and they are this strong, that is so dangerous to do. TSM running over Golden Guardians at this point. They had a great early game, but cannot contest TSM in this mid game, in this late game. TSM getting multiple tier 2 towers off the back of that as well. The gold lead is exploding. You can see the Red Bull Baron buff there. Plus 6,000 gold. Here it is one more time. There's no summoners available on to Stixxay, so they just push him back. Golden Guardians wants to try to engage with the Blaze Olive here, as well as Chime and Iconic. Iconic diving to the backline, but he's basically dead on arrival. He's already down to 15% just from the damage he took in the air. And then trying to fight into this backline here, Spica just sectioning off multiple members, taking them down. The sustain is so incredibly high, and Power of Evil was untouched pretty much through that entire fight. He is just free-firing this mid-jungle for TSM, just roasting up Golden Guardians, and now the pushes are just continuing. They're getting even more.
Yeah, I know Coach Bjorksen's like a pretty big fan of reading, actually. Makes sense. TSM Book Club looking pretty good with 20 stacks apiece there between Speaker and PoE. And now Golden Guardians gonna have to fight through a pretty impossible feeling situation. Tier 2 and mid's gonna fall. Called 6 towers now for TSM. And sure, the Baron's worn off, but TSM will be back for more. They're even on track for that soul in 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, they're looking really good. The only hope for Golden Guardians kind of at this point is trying to take down PoE, trying to take down Spica. If you get a couple of big shutdowns, take some of those Magi stacks off. That is a big swing of gold, not only in the influx of gold that you're getting for the shutdowns, but also the removal of power by taking those Magi stacks away. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it, though. It will be difficult. because the Zonias is available for Spica, the stopwatch is available for PoE. They have those defensive luxury items at this point, and they are pressing.
All right, well, Golden Guardians definitely had a lot of good looks in the early game. I think trying to open up the mid game more is where TSM really put an end to the snowball that was happening, and now definitely getting snowballed on. So we'll see how Golden Guardians' defense looks here. Gonna have to answer the question of who's gonna grab the Dragon Soul in 2 minutes and 50 seconds, but still have time to set that up as Sorta is gonna try and get the requisite vision down.
Yeah, looking to get there early, start fighting around that vision. And also just, again, wherever Power of Evil is, someone from TSM kind of needs to be shadowing him because you're playing against a Nocturne team. So, you know, or rather, you're playing with the Nocturne. You want to be able to cover your side lanes. You want to be able to set up these sorts of plays where Power of Evil can push freely, where Nocturne can push freely, and then move and collapse. And a lot of that is about getting vision, is about kind of shadowing your laners as they try to press up aggressively and really make the most of their leads.
They're going to take the Lantern out to safety, but TSM is just pushing Golden Guardians back towards basically only their third of the map. Chime is going to try and get some vision back here. But doesn't find any wards with the sweeper, looks for the hook, Speaker dashes away, and is trying to get, you know, a little bit of vision snuck around some corners so they can maybe find out when TSM next assault the Baron, because Golden Guardians going to really struggle to just get out to the objectives that TSM are looking to line up in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It does get very difficult. At this point, you really are kind of hoping for some sort of a fantastic engage, a really good flank from Licorice to maybe, you know, dunk in Power of Evil or something like that. But that is why TSM is trying to be so diligent with their warding. You know, you look at the minimap here, the deepest line of vision for TSM is really this, right? It's those couple wards. They have no flanking wards available. That is why we are seeing Golden Guardians move forward with the sweepers, TSM trying to sweep out the Golden Guardians' vision, you know, moving forward with those sweepers, trying to deny any chance of a TP flank from Licorice, from a Blaze Olive. Because if you don't allow them to get in the backline and you're playing with this sort of a lead, it becomes really, really difficult for your opponents to really be able to get anything done.
All right, well, just patience now. Golden Guardians, though, counter pushing mid. Trying to get some pressure back again. You have to push this to gain access to this river. And Golden Guardians need to take some of this real estate back as Speaker. I say caught, but not really, because he's got his teammates behind him.
He's just running at them.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know where everyone else
Exactly.
is. He does have 2 members behind him, and I guess the Nocturne could collapse, so theoretically it could turn into a 4v4. Plus, you have the little mist zone able to deny any sort of a hook coming through. Power of Evil is pushing on the bot side. He's got his TP available. And you can see he's getting more and more comfortable. Now has the death cap completed with that, plus the Mage Eyes. He is going to be huge. You land one combo, really. 852 AP at this point in the game now for Power of Evil. That's like one combo on Jinx, practically.
Yep. Power of Evil is actually joining the PvP section of the game as well. So he's done in bottom lane. He's now going to group up for this Dragon, which makes sense. These objectives, by the way, will not last long on this Rift with how much DPS TSM are ready to dish out. But Golden Guardians going to have to be more concerned with the fact that they can't see and TSM are about to grab the Mountain Soul. They have to fight, but they don't want to. Oh, look at PoE. Just chilling in the brush, waiting. Nautilus ultimate stolen, that's a pretty good one. But Golden Guardians, there's no flank here. You have to go straight face first into TSM.
Yeah, and the longer they wait around, this Varus poke is adding up. Licorice is down to a third. Chime is down to a little over half. A couple more of these arrows and they're not even going to have the opportunity to fight. And now Licorice is going to have to go back to base and TP back in because he's so low. Golden Guardians have got to pick their moment, but Power of Evil is marking a Blaze Olive.
Yep, Huni out there as well. Goes Golden. TSM, though, are going to just keep the rest of them out. Blaze Olive with a nice flash as Iconic does also pop his stasis. And now they're in the Dragon Pit, like, hoping to 50-50 it, I guess. But TSM are just going to fight them. Licorice going to go in now, try and make something happen. Big haymaker with the face breaker. But the Dragon goes over to Golden Guardians. Can they get out alive, though? As Gwen is looking to try and snip them all to bits. As Speaker dominating, grabs himself a double. PoE will fall, but it's only Stixay left in a 1v4. That is a BMTB if I've ever seen one. And Stixay, the Q off the Varus load, thanks to Sorolidus, is going to give TSM yet another ace, and very likely this game as well.
The world's shortest TV flank from Huni. He's setting records, and TSM are about to be knocking down bases, cleaning up Golden Guardians, and they've got the game.
Alvaro chiming in right at the very end. Unfortunately, you will not get your wish this week, mate. But TSM are going to complete the early game stumbles and turn it into a very dominating victory at the end.
Yeah, really nicely done around that dragon there. Lost was just hitting so much poke, and it really did kind of force the hand here of Golden Guardians. Those Varus arrows coming through constantly, whittling them down. Licorice went back to base, TP'd back in. They're starting to get poked down again, so they were currently kind of forced to engage. Power People did a good job actually marking the flank. You know, that's what he's doing over by that blue brush. Finds a Blazed Olive on the flank. They're really kind of just eliminating a lot of the options, a lot of the windows that Golden Guardians would be trying to look for there. They had well-established battle lines. They played well from a disadvantage. They responded to some of the Golden Guardians' plays. I think there's stuff to review there for TSM as far as the early game goes, but you know the mid game, the late game, their team fighting was far superior to Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're getting Huni Nocturne almost every game, it feels like. We're basically getting Control Mage every game for PoE. I think it's pretty safe to say that the TSM style is well established, and even though we may ask for more diversity in the playstyles you're wanting to play, you cannot argue with TSM's record, and it looks very good with the style they're comfortable with. So another win there, even though Golden Guardians did give it a good go. With that, though, it is time for us to step away, but when we return, we are going to be hearing from Dash and Impact, last week's MasterCard Player of the Week, ahead of Evil Geniuses taking on IMT. Stick around.
Not gonna lie, Jake from State Farm. That Daniel deal got me some sweet savings on my insurance.
Daniel, State Farm offers surprisingly great rates to everyone.
Sure you do. Tell you what, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll let you try the chunk, honey.
Oh, I'm good. Here's the deal. Great rates, kinda our thing.
You wanna meet the queen?
I'm not dressed for that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's up, everyone? Dash here alongside our MasterCard Player of the Week for Week 7. It's Impact. Impact, I mean, just taking a look at these numbers right here. These gold differences at 15 were absolutely astronomical. You set an LCS record. How does it feel to be recognized for your individual performance from last week?
I mean, to me, just I played the same thing. Like, I'm just play same thing, but we are doing well to team play. That's why I get head. That's why I get gold more. So I'm happy.
Okay. Spreading the love to the rest of the team. But as you just mentioned, like this is pretty standard for you. You feel like you're playing very much the way you should expect to be played. But that kind of ties into this idea that your career has been so long. And I'm curious, as there are many people, who watch LCS players come and go, whose careers are much shorter. How do you keep that motivation to stay competitive and at the top of the league?
I didn't think of that one because I'm just focus just my game, just focus League of Legends, and I'm just keep playing because League of Legends is my life. So when I wake up, I'm thinking League of Legends. When I see people sleep, thinking League of Legends and watching HK at 1 a.m. and keep watching and sleep.
And watching the LCS right now.
Yeah, watching HK too. Yeah, I'm watching everything. So I mean, just thinking, just like when you're breathing out, same thing. I'm just playing League of Legends. So that's how I can long run, I think.
But let me ask you this. Why is it that you still have such a deep love for this? You've already been a world champion. You've already been to the top of the mountain, Impact. Is it just that you want to do it again or what?
Yeah, of course. My goal is I want go semi-final first, if possible. And yeah, of course, I want go final, So that's my goal in my life, There was a long time I wanted, 2013. Now already 8 years different, right? So
Yeah.
8 years ago, so I want to do again.
Well, let's talk about maybe making it happen again. You're on this squad, Evil Geniuses. Last week, I got to talk to you a little bit about the different pieces around you and why you guys are playing so strong at the moment. We talked a bit about Jizuke. Now I want to talk a bit about Danny as a teammate. You have played with everyone from, ultra veterans. You've played with Faker, world's best mid laner, all the way to newcomers like Danny. When you look at the team around you and Danny specifically, what do you feel are the abilities that he has? What does he bring to the table that makes it that you guys could be a world's contending roster?
He just bring to our make strong team fight because he good at team fight, and we bringing just good carry. He very well to carrying team fight, and he know how to play his selfish more. So yeah, that's how we need people, and yeah, we got it, and that's how we look good.
All right, well, picking up MasterCard Player of the Week in Week 7 is one big step towards taking an LCS title. Again, we've had that conversation started around EG as a top team. When you kind of look at the top 3-4 teams, do you feel like you are the best, even though the record isn't quite there yet? And will you guys take the title at the end of this year?
If we doesn't count spring record, also if we don't count our first week,
okay.
I think we are best, but we don't know,
But right now, you feel like you're the best team in the LCS?
Yes, I think so. I have confidence. And, anyway, it's up to playoff, right? If we going playoff and we lose, it's nothing.
That's true.
So, but still, this performance, I can say we are best.
All right, that's what I like to hear, the confidence out of Impact. I want to congratulate you again on the honors of MasterCard Player of the Week. Can't wait to see you guys hit the Rift.
Thanks so much.
From here, we're going back to the State Farm Analyst Desk to talk Rookies of the Year. See you there.